And can you kind of tell me your history and how you ended up as the DA?
Sure. So, how far back do you want me to start?
East Texas back?
Okay. So, I moved here in 2021. I came from Colorado. Up there, I did prosecution, and I also was in private practice for a while doing family law and probate. But I was tired of that, tired of fighting over knives and forks and spoons. Wanted to get back into prosecution. And in Colorado, it's tough to live on a prosecutor salary, and Colorado was moving in a direction that didn't really match my ethical, moral, kind of just life values. And so I had gone to law school at Baylor, so I had some connections here in Texas. And so I applied to different positions here, got my license here in Texas, and I ended up here in Angelina County in July of 2021. I was here for about 10 months, and then I went across the river to the Nacogdoches office, and then I was appointed in August by the governor to fill the district attorney position here, and then I'm running this election to keep this position.
And what does your district attorney job kind of entail?
Oh, goodness, a lot. So I'm still a prosecutor, but then I also have administrative duties in addition to that. So prosecutors are the chief law enforcement officer in their respective counties. So my duties, I'm in the courtroom a lot still, especially on major cases. I still involve myself with that. I still do trials. But then on the other side, I manage the office, which fully staffed, I believe it's 16 or 17 total employees. And then I also communicate with law enforcement, community partners like Harold's House and Family Crisis. We have to get together a lot to make sure that we're all following the law, that we're all offering appropriate services, and that we're all moving towards justice and making sure that our victims and even our defendants in some points are getting what they need out in the community. I also am responsible for the budget here. I'm responsible for any grants that we have. I file reports with the state, and kind of I have to keep track of everything that's going on in the courtrooms and just keep tabs on a whole lot that goes on around here.
A lot of moving parts, I bet.
A lot of moving parts, a lot, yeah.
So, for prosecutors, what is their role in the courtroom?
So, the assistant district attorneys, they are an extension of me. And so they have pretty wide discretion, but their job is to kind of implement the vision and direction that I have for the office and for every prosecutor, including district attorneys, because we do still fill that role. You know, our job is to make sure justice is done. That can look different in different cases. That can look like a really long prison sentence. That can look like probation for those who are willing to demonstrate that they're able to comply with those requirements and who want to rehabilitate. That can look like maybe we don't prosecute a case for some reason, but we offer resources to a victim or to a defendant because that's what justice looks like. So that's our goal. Day to day in the courtroom, they have dockets pretty much every day of the week, if not every day, the majority of the day. So they will go in, they will negotiate plea offers. When they're in the office, they are reviewing cases for whether they're going to be presented to the grand jury, whether they're going to be sent back for more investigation, or whether they're rejected outright. If a plea agreement can be reached, they're going to do that paperwork. If it can't, they're going to prepare for trials, prep witnesses, and make sure that we have all of the evidence that we need, all of that testing has been done, and do those trials. And then afterwards, they will handle the appeals of those trials.
And from my understanding, Angelina County large backlog of cases.
We do.
And how does that kind of impact prosecutors' workloads here?
It impacts it greatly. So prosecutors, well, lawyers in general, but especially prosecutors, should probably only ideally be carrying 200 cases, maybe 250 a piece. Right now, we have 5 prosecutors. That's 1,000 cases a piece. It generally is what we're carrying, and so that big of a load is difficult. And that's always how it's been. Is there are more people committing crimes than there are prosecutors, and so you have a big caseload. But when you're, increasing exponentially the caseload that you probably should have, it affects, your work-life balance. It affects what you can do in certain cases. So while there's always a priority of how we deal with cases and what cases are highest on that priority list, we may be making offers that we don't necessarily like and wouldn't do under other circumstances, but we have to make sure that we're taking care of those higher priority cases.
Mm-hmm. How many other prosecutors are you looking to hire?
I have 3 positions open at the moment. We are in interviews currently for one of those positions. So if I can hire out of that pool for one of those positions, then I'll just have 2 left to fill.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And, kind of looking into the future, what would you like to see for your staff? I mean, is it more open positions? Is it kind of transferring some of the workload?
Yeah, so I think it's twofold. So it's very helpful if we have every position staffed. The one prosecutor I have starting next week is a very experienced prosecutor. The interviews that I'm currently doing are for an experienced position, and we've had very experienced applicants. So it's good, especially in felonies, to have experienced prosecutors, but we also need to have some younger prosecutors that we can train up who are going to fill in as people retire or move on. And so I would like those other 2 positions to be some younger prosecutors. It'd be nice to have experience, but even if not, some very motivated young people who want to be prosecutors, right? Because the issue that we run into all over the state, not just here in Angelina County, is you don't become a prosecutor to get rich. Like that's not what happens. So you need people who are in this for the right reason, who aren't looking for that. There's a lot of lawyers who become lawyers to make a lot of money, and that's a goal that a lot of people have, but not here. And so finding those people who are very passionate about helping others, making sure their community is safe, is something that I'm looking for and would be helpful moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And you might not know, but has Angelina County ever had this much backlog before, and why is that?
Sure. So like I said, I got here 5 years ago, so I can only kind of speak from the armchair quarterback position. But COVID didn't help matters, but there was a backlog prior to COVID. And you get backlogs for a number of reasons, right? Like it could be low staffing, which I think is always a problem in a community of our size. I don't know that it was a problem back then as much as it is now, but that's always an issue. There is who is leading your office and what are their priorities. Are we going to trial? Are we, making appropriate plea offers? I don't know because I wasn't here then, right? And then a lot of people look at my office and say, well, what were the DAs doing that caused this backlog? But we are only one piece in kind of a 3-wheeled cog, if you will. So there's our office, there's the court, and there's the defense attorneys. And all of us have a role in making sure that cases are moving through the system. So we could be doing everything that we're supposed to be doing, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of that right now. But if the courts don't hold both prosecutors and defense attorneys to timelines and moving cases, then they sit, right? Or prosecutors and the courts could be doing that, and you could have defense attorneys that are not talking to their clients, are not pushing for dispositions, are not reviewing discovery, so they can't have those conversations. Or you could have prosecutors and defense doing, so all three of those pieces have to be working efficiently, and we all are supposed to kind of be holding each other accountable. So if any one of those parts breaks down, you're going to start having backlogs. And so I think it's a multifaceted issue that has occurred for a long time. And so that allowed this large number of cases, plus COVID on top of that, to build up and get us to where we are now.
Yeah. My last question to you is there any cases in recent memory to you that has been so backlogged that y'all were finally able to kind of get out of that section?
Yes, so one case in particular was Andrew Short. I tried him in April. That case was originally reported and indicted in 2015, and so it got tried in 2026. And you know, it was a very serious case. It's continuous sexual abuse of multiple children. And I think that case also illustrates why all three of those kind of cogs in the wheel have to work, because those victims were children when that happened, and this carried through their entire life. It's just kind of permeated every part of their life. They couldn't really move on. On the other side, we also had a defendant who was awaiting trial, who he had bonded out and had to come back into custody, but this last time that he was in jail for over 1,000 days before we got to trial, plus the others. So, you know, we have the system for a reason, and it's to give closure to victims. It's to give defendants their day in court of, am I guilty, am I not, if that's what they want to do. And so these backlogs hurt everybody, really. And honestly, cases don't get better the older they get. They normally get worse.
Yeah.
So.
Well, those are all of my questions. Is there anything else you would like to add on or just to say?
I think I would highlight, especially for like staffing issues. I kind of touched on it, but it's a problem for everybody, not just us. I think a community our size, it's especially hard. I think especially younger prosecutors want to be in the city. They think that's much more exciting, but I've read something this morning about how long it takes you to get to work affects the quality of your life, right? So if you're sitting in traffic all the time, the quality of your life goes down. So I think somehow educating, especially younger attorneys, that sometimes it's good to live in a smaller community close to those big cities is a better quality of life. So I'm hopeful to get that out there. I'm hopeful to attract some good quality, younger and more experienced attorneys to continue to carry forth my vision for making sure that Angelina County is safe and that we are working through our backlog and then even our new cases efficiently and with a good eye towards what justice is.